You're listening to a band of gamers podcasting since 2012. Three older best mates share a few laughs and keep you current with discussions about the latest news, consoles, and games. Join the conversation and the community. abandofgamers.com. Hey, hello, welcome. You're listening to a band of gamers.
That's a podcast.
Video game podcast.
Oh.
Hope you're enjoying your free time. I watched a lot of videos so that you could enjoy your free time. We'll get to that in a minute.
Hey, we got Karl's here this week.
Is he?
I am. Yeah.
Wow.
Flew you all the way in, chaps.
Let's just get right to the intros. Before that, in this episode, PS5 pre-orders are up. Kind of. If you live in the US, then it's a big maybe. We've watched an hour of new game trailers from both the DC Fandom event and Gamescom, and are going to bring you the games we think will be worth playing. You're welcome. Impressions of Project Cars 3 and Battletoads. Anxious to hear about both of these. And a 10-minute PlayStation Platinum trophy for less than $1. I mean, we're not talking about it for 10 minutes, an actual 10-minute game.
You can't beat that. A 10-minute platinum for less than $1. No excuses, kids. Let's go.
Where else are you going to get content like that? Nowhere. Right here. A band of gamers. Stay tuned. ABOG. I'm Joel, one of your three co-hosts. Your MC, recording in a suburb of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA. Not Kenosha. Man, Wisconsin's making really bad news lately. Ugh. But we're not going to talk about that. No politics. No bullshit. Just gaming. And three handsome, non-nerdy fellows.
Oh.
Am I right, guys?
Oh yeah.
We're very fond of
Seriously.
ourselves here. Yeah. Joining me on this podcast journey, first of all, from Vancouver, Canada, nestled behind the mountains, looking for the triple, never playing good defense. Shane, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, man, let's go Mets, man. They're, fired up, man. Enjoying this, what's left of this baseball season and all the crap around it. But it's been enjoying it. It's been fun. Kind of digging sports right now. Kind of, but, it's enjoyable.
Sort of a little bit of normalcy. Kind of.
A little bit.
It's not like regular sports, but it's something. Very proud of my Milwaukee Bucks, but there I go. Going down that political path, potentially. Stepping back away from that. Joining me from Birmingham, England. Joining us. But his heart is in Newcastle this week and his ass starting tomorrow. It's Karl. Hey, Karl.
Look, you jinxing me tomorrow. I swear I'm going to be in trouble. My heart is in Newcastle because I'm thoroughly enjoying a couple of cold Nuki brown ales. That's right. Get those beautiful diamond beers out your fridge and start getting into them. But tomorrow might be a different story. We'll see.
Newcastle Brown, I think, was my first favorite beer. I was like 18 or 19 or something. And
10.
Yeah, 12.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, for legal reasons, one of the lawyers getting any emails from some woman in Michigan.
Right.
We'll say 18, 19, whatever the legal age is in your state. That's where that's when I had a first Newcastle Brown, and I loved it. It's phenomenal beer. It got me hooked on brown ales. Some good, some bad, some phenomenal. So, cheers, mate.
Yeah, cheers, dude. Ice cold out the fridge. You can't beat it, man. Can't beat it.
Man, I feel like we should skip right to the beer section here with the way we're talking. Let's do it. I've got a half acre out of Chicago. I don't think they let us Wisconsinites down in Illinois at this moment.
No.
We're locked down.
Yeah.
But it's just a regular old IPA called Bodem or Bodem. I think it's Bodem, but I suppose it could be pronounced Bodem. It's good. Just a tasty IPA. Nothing fancy. Nice and hoppy. Delicious. Shane, what do you got?
Good, man.
Thanks.
I am rocking from my favorite brewery, Boombox Brewing. They just brought back their Secret Galaxies.
Ooh.
IPA. I don't know if it's it's just a regular IPA, but it is damn good. Weighs in at 6.8%. full of all the hoppy goodness that we love on there. Phenomenal beer. Just came back, had one yesterday just to get reacquainted, and we are good to go, boys.
Nice. Shane wins. Shane's look the best.
Shane's is the best.
Nope.
Yeah, it looks the best, man. That looks damn tasty.
It does.
Decent.
It's the beard. Really kind of helps accentuate the color of that beer behind it. You know, when you see that dark Grizzly Adams beard you got there.
Nah, it's painted on.
Is it? It looks pretty good. Well, the PlayStation 5, you can pre-order that thing. Kind of. Let me explain. Ish. So it just came out. There's a website, and we'll put a link to it in our show notes. We'll hook you up. If you are a US PlayStation gamer, you have to have an account. Because when you go to that website through that link, you have to enter your gamer. What do they call it on PlayStation? I was going to say gamer tag. That ain't right.
Nah,
Your PlayStation ID. Thank you.
Yeah.
You enter that. There's some verbiage there I copy pasted into the agenda to read off for you. There will be a limited quantity of PlayStation 5 consoles available for pre-order. So we will be inviting some of our existing consumers to be one of the first to pre-order one from PlayStation.
Dun, dun, dun.
Pre-order reservations will be taken on a first-come, first-served basis. I signed up today. Days later, I'm probably screwed. So once you get an invite via email, we encourage you to follow instructions and act fast. If you're interested in receiving an invitation, register below. That's where you put your PlayStation ID, hit a button, and voila. But that's, again, just US. You guys got shafted there, hey?
Well, the fine print says it has to go to a US address.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
However, thankfully, the US-Canadian border ain't getting opened, or at least the ground border ain't getting opened anytime soon.
Thankfully, you say? You're keeping us out too?
Yep.
Don't blame you.
So yeah, I signed up for it, but yeah, looks like I won't be able to take advantage of this. So
I did the same. I signed up as well. I didn't read it all the way through. Like I was like, oh yeah, order. And I just banged it through, and then I read the small print, and it said you have to ship to a US address. And I thought, well, I could just send it to Joel, and either pick it up at some point or get him to send it to me. But then I was thinking about the shipping costs and all the rest of it, and then it's going to get stopped, and I'm going to have to pay duty on it. So I don't know if I want one that bad. But I'll tell you what, chaps, I mean, I don't know about you, but this is a move that I don't think we've seen before. And the minute I saw this email, I was like, oh, man, there is going to be a short supply of these things. I did genuinely think if they're doing this and they're giving people the opportunity, that they're obviously going to be looking through your activity, seeing how much you spend on the line, on the store, see what kind of games what your wallet spend's going to be, and then they're going to be picking those people, I would imagine.
No, come on, Palmer.
I can't help but be concerned a little bit. I just think with everything that's going on with Corona all around the world, with manufacturing being impacted, and we still haven't got release dates or prices really. So, for a console that's coming out in 2 months, I'm thinking stocks are going to be well limited.
That's what they've been saying, man, for quite a while. They're not going to. They're not going to say that and then all of a sudden have a surplus. It's going to be limited. So they've been saying this for months.
No, I think as far as this pre-order thing goes, I think it's just building hype. It builds hype. It builds, all that other jazz, and everybody fired up like, oh, it's happening, let's go. Nerds will be out in full force, and this is a great subtle way to do that. Being it's like, oh, you could be chosen to own a PS5. Like, whoa. Imagine getting that email, people be losing their minds. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it'll be some meme or something where you are worthy. It just opens up a little video in your email, like, ooh. Just send us $600 and it's yours.
Yeah, I wonder if when that email comes through, if they'll actually have a price on there at that point. You just put your credit card in and don't worry, whatever that price is, we'll just charge it to your card when the time comes.
Sure. Let's go.
And go ahead and send it here, Karl. I'll take good care of it for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
I'm
be
sure
nice
it
to
will.
the be nice to the male men or male persons.
Yes,
you know.
yes, be super nice to them.
Always.
There's
Christmas
like 14
cookies.
PS5s that show up at Joel's door. Just a big stack of. Oh.
Well, the DC fandom event, that's DC Comics, your Batman, your Superman, your Wonder Woman, all them freaks. Nah, there's some good superheroes in there. But they had an event of which they announced some movies, probably other stuff I don't really pay attention to, but hey, video games. That's why we're here, right? They talked about a couple video games, including 2 Gotham Knights. It's your next Batman game coming from WB Montreal. It's not from Rocksteady this time. Rocksteady's been behind the helm of Batman for what, 3-4 games now?
Yeah, they did the Arkham trilogy, as it's known. So, the original Arkham Asylum and then City and Arkham Knight, the last one. But Arkham Origins, I think, was done by Montreal.
Oh, it was. Okay. That's just
Yeah.
like a remastered version of Rocksteady's work.
It was, I think they used the same engine and everything, but it just wasn't under their umbrella. But the interesting part of it, I watched this and I was very excited. Obviously, Batman's my favorite superhero, and I love these games. So they're really, really good. And for all the the doubting that the Arkham Knight got, with the Batmobile and all that, it was still a great game. Really, really good. Story was great, and the premise of this one is that Batman is dead. And you are, I know. And if you played through, and this is the interesting thing, when I saw the announcement for this one, if you played through Arkham Knight, you'll know that at the end of that game, Batman kind of sacrifices himself. Spoiler. So him not being alive and around didn't surprise me, but obviously that was done by Rocksteady, and he gives like a video transmission in that game. And it looks like they've actually put this in Gotham Knights. It looks like it's the same transmission, kind of saying, if you're watching this, I'm not around. And so I thought that was a bit surprising. I don't know if it is the same or if they just kind of lifted it from it or whatever. But essentially, he's not around. He's leaving everything to his previous pupils, disciples, if you like. So you get to play, from looking at the trailer, as kind of the Red Hood, Robin, Batwoman, or it might be Batgirl. I think it was Batwoman, or Nightwing. So it's 2-player co-op as well, which that's going to be cool. It looks like it's drop in, drop out. That you can go anywhere on the map as well. You don't have to stay by each other. Like one of you can go on one end of Gotham, the other one can go the other end. It makes for quite a cool looking experience for me. It looked really pretty as well. Like, they showed the video with Freeze, and it was just making Gotham one big iceberg. And yeah, it's really piqued my interest. I'm on the fence. I don't really think Batman is gone in this, but I think it's a great way of lining the game up, and building a bit of hype about it. And you'll probably find out that he's hiding somewhere, or maybe he's been taken captive, because you're up against the Court of Owls in this game, and they are the kind of the big bads behind the scene. They run Gotham. They run all the businesses. They run all the crime lords. They've got a hand in everything. So it's going to be really cool, this one. I'm looking forward to this already.
I like that they're doing the Court of Owls. That's a great comic book presence, or premise, I should say. I have not read many comic books in my life, but I got big into Walking Dead for a while, read a ton of those, and right around that same time, DC rebooted everything, and they did a Batman, when I read it, a Court of Owls, were the few comics on that series that I read until I got bored of reading comics and decided to move on. But it was a good premise. And Rocksteady is still around. They're making something else. They're not making a Batman game, but people are pleased. Although looks a little bit different than what they did with Batman, because it's a shooter. Karl, comic book guy of the group, comic book fan, I should say.
Yeah, he can call me comic book guy. I don't mind. I'll put a cape on. Noted. Duly noted. Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League was the title of this one, and it's been rumored. It's been kind of floated around a bit over the past couple of months. You've seen a couple of teasers on there with kind of like a behind, over the shoulder view of Superman, and like the Justice League are out to try and take him down and stuff. But we only really got a kind of a in-game engine footage, I guess you would describe it, a trailer, whatever you might want to say. Gotham Knights was all pretty much gameplay, and this is very much still come to 2022. I think they said something along those lines. So it's still a way away, but it looks like they're making it almost like an FPS kind of not third person, or it might be third person, but just not the same kind of mechanisms that you get in the Batman games. But interesting premise. I don't know if the Suicide Squad brand is that strong. I know everyone loves Harley Quinn and all the rest of it, but I don't know how excited people are going to be about this game in a couple of years' time. I don't know, but certainly, raise an eyebrow or two. And I think the idea, I'm assuming, is that Brainiac is kind of took control of the Justice League, and Suicide Squad have been sent out to try and do him in. And again, we just have to see how it develops. It doesn't look anywhere near as finished or, anywhere near as further along the line as Gotham Knights does. But who knows? We might be surprised.
Yeah, I think with Suicide Squad, the brand won't hold it back because they do have the Justice League in there. And in the trailer, like you're trying to take down Superman at the end of that trailer. So you still got the regular popular DC characters to kind of really get the fans in, even if they're not into
together.
Yeah.
That could be quite cool. Like, imagine if your boss fights are like, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern. Like, that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks all right. And Rocksteady, man.
Yeah, they don't make mistakes.
Yeah, have faith in Rocksteady. Then Gamescom 2020. Just watched a 45-minute clip of all the trailers kind of mashed together.
Samesies.
Yeah. I figured we'd just share like the highlights from that rather than your typical gaming podcast where just bullet by bullet talk through every single game. There were a few games in this 45-minute stretch of videos that I could give a shit about, to be honest. A lot of run-of-the-mill Destiny-style games. Like you could see a huge shift or with a lot of stuff coming out, very inspired by that looter shooter thing that's huge right now. And that's just something that I don't care about. And we've talked about this in prior episodes, it's so watered down at the moment. It's like, it's just, I don't know, nothing in there really caught my attention. There was a Call of Duty, another one. Shocking.
Right.
Yeah. Trailer didn't do a whole lot for me.
No, it was cool to see Reagan bowling though.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
It looked quite good as well. I was like, okay. I mean, I think I'm done on all those Call of Duty games, but it just kind of fell straight into the mold, didn't it? Didn't really do a lot for me. One game that I really like the look of, and you've got this on your list, Joel, as well, Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga. So they've of just rebooted it. And this has been in the pipeline again for a while. It was delayed, and that we've kind of been teased a bit of some still screens and the odd little bit of footage here and there. But this is all 9 movies spread across one game, and it looked wicked. Like I was watching this thing. I probably played, go back to the 360 days and the PS3. I played the original Lego, Star Wars trilogy and all that, and the other, they've added to it as well, over the years with different games. But these look really cool. They're really polished for me, and it's nice to see like a bit of a graphical update, and give it a bit of polish. Like the lightsabers look cool, the combat seemed really crisp as well. Like still Lego, but man, it looked really really funny.
Yeah. Yeah, graphically looked like a big step up from that original Lego Star Wars. The lighting, just the shimmer, the reflections off the characters, off the spaceships and stuff. I wonder if with it being the 9-movie arc, if they're going to just kind of boil it down to big key moments. I'm assuming that's what they're going to do, rather than play every single moment, because that'd be like, what, a 50-hour Lego game. I don't see that happening. But just to boil it down to those key lightsaber battles and some spaceship flying and stuff. Looks like it's going to be pretty good. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to this one too.
Are you really?
Lego games are solid, man. I like playing those, man. Bustle, the Marvel ones were fantastic, and I'm looking forward to this one. That trailer looked phenomenal. It really did.
They've got that great sense of humor, and it's just a chill game. You're not flexing them reflexes too much. You're just sitting back enjoying some gaming. I think Lego games are great for that. I'm glad you brought that one up.
For a platinum.
Good for what?
Good for a platinum as well. They're not the easiest to, they take a lot of time, sort of 60 hours, but to find every gold brick or unlock every character, that's normally pretty fun. And I'd love it if this game was 9 separate platinums in one. That'd be amazing. Make it happen.
Next gen platinum system.
Yeah, whatever that might be. Talking about Star Wars, there was another trailer in there which I really enjoyed. Star Wars Squadrons. Got to see a little bit more discussion around the character development. You're going to play as 2 different pilots, one for the Rebellion and one for the remnants of the Empire. And it gave you a little bit of a look into a couple of the missions on there and just how they'll play. And also there's a couple of little characters that you might have recognised. Syndulla from the Star Wars Rebels cartoon. And you've got a couple of older people in there from the original Star Wars trilogy, like Wedge Antilles was popping up there as a major character as well. So you'd assume there's a couple on the Empire side as well, of similar kind of gravitas. But yeah, that's looking really nice. Again, I don't know how much longevity that would have, but if they're building it around those previous, like X-Wing versus Starfighter and those kind of games, then I'll be up for that.
And that's what, like October? That's pretty.
Yeah,
that's
soon.
That's out within like a month or 2 here. That's good.
Might be a rental, I think, for me initially, anyway, just to play through that campaign.
Pipeline's kind of drying up. It's nice to see some stuff here coming out besides Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 in a couple days. Holy crap! Thought of Shane right away. I know, Karl, I think you played this one too when I saw the trailer for Surgeon Simulator 2.
Yeah.
Not impressed with the trailer with the bunch of screaming nerd YouTuber type of people like screaming and stuff at the bottom of the screen with the overlays, but looks like it might be fun. A co-op version of that surgery simulator. Can't talk.
I'll tell you what, that could be, get a couple of beers and you get online with your mates. That could be quite fun.
A couple.
Yeah. Well, you've got to operate.
Yeah, I guess.
You can only have 1 or 2. You're right. You've got to be professional.
Yeah, you got to keep it within, the medical guidelines, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Which is less than 3, I think, to perform surgery these days. I don't know, unless they changed it.
Well, you get the third in there, and the third just eats junior mints.
Nice Seinfeld reference.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for Surgeon Simulator 2, man. That's going to be, had so much fun doing the first one. It was great. Great fun games, Those ones, it's even better when, it's somebody who doesn't play video games, and it's like, hey, try this out. You give them the controller and whatnot, and yeah, it's just good times.
I don't see it on Karl's or Shane's list here, but Struggling. Now, this one's out already on PC and Steam and Switch. Basically, it's like a hunk of meat with arms. It's a flesh-flailing co-op platformer, I think I saw it referred to online. Reminded me of like Evil Dead 1 and 2. Like a horror, sort of funny humor beast kind of a game. Looked pretty decent. It's already out. I like the trailer for that.
It gave me a couple of like Super Meat Boy vibes and things like that. So and I did enjoy that. So yeah, maybe one to keep an eye on. But it was like out now, and I was totally shocked at that.
But it's like more modern graphics, unlike Super Meat Boy. It didn't have the 8-bit or the 16-bit look. So kind of like Inside a little bit with that crazy ending that they had. Take that and make it to a full platformer. Kind of, only with arms rather than the rest of that. Not to spoil the ending of that game, but
yeah. Talking about Inside, I don't think any of us played Little Nightmares, which was kind of a little creepy little platform with that kid in the little yellow rain jacket. But that was announced on there too. Little Nightmares 2 with his little buddy with a paper bag over his head or whatever it was. And I thought that looked like it's not my kind of game, I don't think, but I thought it looked quite cool, creepy, and it just gave me those like Inside and Limbo vibes a little bit, but probably more than and I guess because there were outside zones and a little bit more like hiding in the grass and things like that, rather than just being set in a house or a boat or whatever. So yeah, I thought that looked quite cool.
Yeah, it looked fantastic. Glad you mentioned that one. Looked and the creepiness of it, man. They had like the Addams Family thing, the hand chasing him. Like, man, that was crazy. Yeah, that looked really, really cool. I like that stuff. I like platformers like that and that, spookiness. It's good stuff. Yeah, it might be interesting. I did not play the first one. Heard good things about it, but yeah, this one looks proper creepy.
I think the war first person shooters are very played out. I know some of you guys, Shane and Karl, you guys you've played a few of the Battlefields. You guys get into that, but I haven't. But I was really impressed with the Medal of Honor Above and Beyond trailer they showed. More of a goofy style war shooter. A little sense of humor in there. Like there's a scene in the trailer where someone takes a bust of like a sculpture, smashes it over someone's head. There's like those tubes at the bank where you put your deposit in and it goes flying up and goes to the teller, where someone puts a grenade in one of those style tubes and it like drops and blows a door off. Looks like it's got your proper war style. I think it's World War II, I believe, judging from the weapons they're using and the German accents and the enemies. But it had flying planes, driving tanks. It looked like a fun first-person, single-player war game. So that caught my interest.
Yeah, it might be a little refreshing for the genre. I'm a big fan of those games, the Battlefields and whatnot. But you really got to pace yourself with them. At least I do. I can't go. You can get into them for a couple months, and I got to take a break for a bit because they can be pretty hardcore.
Yeah. What surprised me about that as well is they were showing it on the Oculus. I don't know if it's only on the Oculus, but for the first time, a full FPS game in virtual reality, that would be pretty cool. I don't know if it's been launched and anything else. I'd be surprised if it isn't. But it could well be that Oculus have just picked that up as picked that IP up just to make that game through. But it looked a very a very immersive kind of VR game as well. Like, when you've got the guy in the room and you've got one of his mates coming in the door at the top of the stairs and he shouts to you and he throws you a gun. You have to physically reach out and catch it and then turn it on the enemies and stuff. Like, it looked like a proper full video game, and you don't see too many of those in VR. So, yeah, I'm interested in that one. I did have a look at it and just noticed the graphical style and stuff like that. And I thought, that looks a bit, not cutesy, but like, I know what you mean, Joel. It wasn't like ultra serious, just had that kind of edge of maybe a bit of fun to it. I'll tell you one that was a lot of fun, and I really do want to play Ratchet and Clank. That looked excellent. And we've seen this trailer before with some of the the E3 conferences that people have had in between. But man, that game looks really pretty, and it looks like it's going to be a blast. Yeah,
I agree.
There's a reason I saved it for last.
I agree with Shane. It did steal the show. Man, it looked really good. It looked like it was all gameplay too. Didn't look like a trailer. It just looked like gameplay, and really showed off the SSD hard drive with the shifting between the rifts really quick. And like a rift would open and you'd see a whole different background and all these enemies, and then it would shift away, a rift back. It's just mind-blowing and great example of next gen. I have not been impressed with next gen so far. And that game really shows off the features of an SSD fast loading time really well.
Yeah, mate, you're spot on with that. That is just blown away. Like, pick your jaw up off the ground afterwards. It's like, wow. Like, that gets you fired up. That'll get you. You're not fired up for next gen yet. You go watch that. Just pause the show, watch that trailer. You be fired up.
Yeah, when's that one coming? That's not a launch window game, right? That's probably a little ways out.
Yeah, probably, but
not sure.
I can stay fired up for a couple of years if necessary. I've been fired up for
Well, with Sony, you should, because that's usually how they play it, right? You get the good 2 years of hype.
The lead time.
Yeah. I'm joking, man. The game looks really, really good. I mean, if that were a launch game, and I'm still thinking maybe just getting one of these consoles a couple months maybe after it's out, unless I get that email, of course.
Well, you got 3 chances, really.
Yeah. PlayStation might be it if they put that Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and this Ratchet and Clank in the launch window. That would be the console to get. You could wait on the Xbox, since all the Xbox games you could play on the one already anyway. Anything else?
Yeah, Karl.
Any other games in here
no.
you guys want to mention?
It wasn't really gameplay, but they did talk a little bit more about the next Dragon Age game, which is interesting to me. And I just want to see some footage from it. Probably be next year now. We actually see some even in-game engine stuff. But just interesting. I like, just knows that it's ticking along behind the scenes, and it's been quite a few years since Inquisition, which was a fantastic game, such a good game, and I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's been a long time, like 10 years probably. Just guessing, but that's like PS3, 360.
No, Inquisition was PS4.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Dragon Age 1 and 2 were PS3, and then Inquisition was, but it was quite early in the launch windows for both consoles. I think it was probably, I want to say 2016-ish, maybe. So, yeah, we're overdue, man.
Man, seems like a lot longer ago than that. Crazy.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Time's really flying, especially these last 4 months. Holy shit. It's weird the way time is flying by and we're not doing anything or going anywhere.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah, 2020 feels like it's been 16 years long.
It does.
I might actually age this year.
No,
you'll
always look super young.
Well, before we get to some impressions of Project Cars 3 and Battletoads, which I'm anxious to hear about both of these, please leave us a review on iTunes. I don't think we had one these last 2 weeks, although it takes a while to update their website. But if you've been thinking about it, you haven't yet done so, please go over to iTunes, drop us a review. Let us know how we're doing. We'd love to hear from you. You can, of course, also join us on our Discord. Links to that on our show notes and on our website at the bottom of the page, abandofgamers.com. And like a few of you have done, you can send us an email, abogpod@gmail.com. We always appreciate those. Keep those coming in. Great to interact with you. Great to hear from you. Rather than talking to a very well-treated, soundproofed wall here with nice little egg carton foam, it's nice to know people are listening. Well,
nice.
So thank you.
With the egg cartons.
That's right. Got to do the egg carton foam, man.
Yep.
Big time. Professional at ABOG. Wow.
Right.
Man. All right, Shane. I heard Project Cars 3 compared by, was it Tainted Shirt in our Discord, compared it to Drive Club?
Uh-oh.
Dora the Deviant.
Dora the Deviant. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank
Legend.
you. Thank you for correcting me. Seriously, I got that wrong. But I saw Drive Club. I'm like, oh my God, Shane's going to be all over this. And Shane's like little emoticon reaction to that was like, oh shit.
Right. Yeah, but I lost him now.
But I knew he was already playing it. So how was it, Shane? It's getting like lukewarm reviews because people are, and maybe not a surprise, Drive Club got just critically lambasted.
Yeah.
But a fun driving game is a fun driving game. Doesn't need to have all of the real world physics and exact brake mechanics and an engine that sounds exactly like the Ferrari engine and everything else that people are judging and critically reviewing these games based on. All that matters is it a fun driving game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm the same. And I think a big problem with it is how, Project Cars traditionally is, a simulation series, the first one. And then it was, went a lot further in Project Cars 2, to the point where I had extreme difficulties playing that with a controller. Personally, I think, if you're putting out a racing game, whether it be an arcade game or a full-on simulation like, Project Cars 2, Assetto Corsa, if you're putting those out on a console, you have to be able to succeed and use a controller.
For sure.
If you want to go, the hardcore iRacing and whatnot, if that's the route, keep that to PC. In my opinion. But if your console, you get the controller, it has to be playable on there. And that really burned me on the second iteration of Project Cars. So with 3, they did a complete 180. They've gone to more of an arcade sim type of game. And the sim aspect comes in the handling. The handling of these cars is phenomenal. It's absolutely fantastic. I love the handling in this game. It is a great mix of a little bit of that arcadiness. It still has that sim, very realistic. You slam it on the brakes, you're trying to brake a little too short. Your car is going to go sideways, So it has some real life physics in there. It feels really good. They nailed that. It feels like Drive Club mixed with Shift 2 Unleashed, which is one of the games that they did back on the PS3, the Need for Speed Shift 2, which is probably one of my favorite racing games that is closer to a sim than others. So it's right in the pocket there for me. Like, I really like the way this game feels. They did a great job on it. There's career modes in this, like a lot of racing games. It's looks like it's got some really nice depth to it. It's got some proper progression in it. They're not giving you, all this bonus money, right off the bat. They're not, holding your hand, letting you play for an hour and all of a sudden you can start buying, supercars, hypercars, all that stuff. No. You got to put the work into this, son. You're gonna be driving Civic Si for a while. And you're going to enjoy it because it's a Civic Si. Why not? They're fun, Throw a couple of the old McDonald's. Remember what are they? When you put your food on when you're going through the cafeteria, one of those trays. Put a couple trays under the rear wheels in the parking lot. Light them up, man. That's what we used to do when we were kids, right? A couple sandwiches and have a blast. But yeah, no, I like the the progression in it. It seems proper. There's lots of different events, lots of different classes. You got to work your way up. You start in a driver E class. You got to work your way up to the D. It's hard work getting into that D. It's great, but it's proper, and I really like. It's kind of refreshing because there's a lot of racing games out there that just love to give you everything off the bat and make you feel like you're a badass and nobody can beat you. No, you got to earn that in a racing game. So I really like that. On top of the career mode, I mean, you can do single race as you want, pick your your track, your specs, all that stuff. It's easy peasy. They added this rivals thing that they do, which is basically like weekly challenges, like a lot of games have now. So they've added these challenges in there that's like daily, weekly, and some that are monthly as well. So that'll definitely get a lot of replay value in there. I really like that. There's leaderboards in there as well. I already know Dora the Deviant's already crushing stuff in there. That's fantastic. I think that aspect is going to bring a lot more to communities and whatnot. I think that's really, really cool. And on top of those challenges, you only get 30 attempts, which seems like a lot. But no, man, you might have to go and set up a single race, do a little time trial, get your lines down, and then go for your attempts. You got to put that work in, which is fantastic. And I was doing some racing this morning just to get in there, and it's a lot of fun. Really, really neat what they did with that.
Sounds pretty good. I like that arcade sim style combined. Not too arcadey, not too sim, but kind of that sweet spot.
I like the racing games that give you.
That give you. That give you what? Sorry,
because I'm not very good at them.
Like Drive Club, man. I thought it hit that sweet spot. A little arcadey, little simulation. Forza Horizon. Maybe even a little bit more arcadey, but it hits a pretty decent sweet spot. It's still the cars react as you think they should react.
Exactly. Yep. Now, the big problem that I kind of have with this game is, the graphics and how the game looks. I mean, Project Cars is never really known for jaw-dropping graphics. They pride themselves on the handling models and physics and whatnot, which they've nailed. But this could have used a few more months, get some polish on there. I've noticed when it's just one car on the screen, it looks pretty good. The car models and whatnot. But when you get, the AI in there and you kind of get bunched up, a lot of the models get really kind of kind of jaggy. Like it starts to slug a little bit there. Some of the tire smoke at times, sometimes it looks great. Other times it's like Gran Turismo 5, and it would get kind of pixelated and whatnot. That tends to happen a little bit in this as well. Same with some of the shadowing. It does that. So I wish it was cleaned up a little bit more, but they can, do some work on it. It's already had a number of patches before even launch. So I know there's going to be a lot more coming, and that'll, definitely be improved, but it's just kind of, there's so many beautiful racing games out there. It kind of, I know it's not the most important thing. You want solid gameplay is, always number one, but this late into a console, like it should look quite a bit better at this point. Like you should be, up in the ante with each release. It should look a little bit better each time. And there's some stuff that looks really, really great. There's one track in this, like the Mojave Desert and whatnot, and it just looked really bland and kind of lifeless. Almost looked like, like last gen, and but like I said, man, they've already had, I think, 4 patches already, so it's getting there. It's getting there. There's a patch on Friday when the game came out, and it helped a little bit. I noticed a little bit of improvements there, so it's getting there. The AI also needs like some serious fixing. The AI, you start off right, and they just bunch up. They bunch right up, almost like a beehive, and they're just all together. And it's to the point where you basically can pass one car, you're going to be in first like 2 seconds later, just because they're all kind of sitting together. And okay, well, here's an opening, I can get through here, and all right, now I'm in like third, second, boom. Now I'm in first for the rest of the race. So that definitely needs a little bit of work. Rubber banding, I mean, like all racing games, you got to have a little bit of it in there. There's times where you're clearly I'm clearly leading the pack, like insane. Like this is world record leading, right? It's, I don't mean to be that guy, but hey, let's call a spade here. And then out of nowhere, there's a vehicle as if he's got like 200-300 more horsepower, just flies right past me. Like, what the hell's going on? Then you find that you catch up to him, and it's like they step on the brakes and let you pass them. It's really, really weird. It definitely needs some fixing on that. It's, let's do it proper. It needs a little bit of work on this game. That being said, I don't want to shit on it too much, because this game does have a lot of potential. It's got a potential to be a really, really great arcade sim racer. And, with the challenges and whatnot, this could be really good for a lot of racing communities out there, like the ones that we have. It's fantastic. So, over time, I think this is just going to get better and better. And we'll get to a point where, it'll be, a lot of fun and look great, and, be one of the best, for the last bit of this generation here. But, it needs some work. It's hard to recommend picking up right now, being at full price. It just needs a little bit of work, but it is fun. I'm having a blast playing it. I've been playing it, each day since I got it last week. It's good. There's a lot of potential there. It's going to take a little bit of time, unfortunately, but physics are great. If you like Shift 2, you like Drive Club, might be one to try out and whatnot, because it's, a lot of potential.
I love the optimism. I hope they keep patching it and fix up them jaggies, the smoke off the tires, and that. I don't know how many patches though are going to. It sounds like some pretty significant problems there.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be able to get rid of all of it, but to minimize it, at least when there's a lot of vehicles on screen, because then it's hard to not notice. So, but I mean, they'll do the best they can. They do. This isn't their first rodeo. It only takes 2 rodeos to be an expert. So,
is that what it is?
Well, because it ain't the first one, so I have the first one, and you got it.
I thought just like one ride on a mechanical bull, and you were rodeo expert. No,
yeah, sure.
I'm not as big into racing games as Shane, but I just want to float this out there. I don't notice jaggies in racing games a whole lot, because I'm really focused on the next turn. You don't stare at your car in a racing game. I mean, usually you can put your camera in different positions so you see your car, obviously. But I'm so focused on next turn, steering, braking, trying to get around an AI opponent, steering, that I don't often see the jaggies or the pixelation. Is it that noticeable? Are you like me where you're kind of looking at the next turn, but is it that noticeable that it just jumps off the screen at you even when you're not looking for it?
Yeah, at times it does.
Okay.
But I like to see, the other cars and whatnot as well. Like I always play with that, kind of like that, I guess you'd call it a third person, like behind the vehicle and whatnot. I like having that kind of a little bit of an overview. If I want to get serious and whatnot, we can do the cockpit view. We can even do the helmet view. They did that helmet view back on Shift 2, and it was phenomenal. Like you'd go into a turn, and the camera would start looking at the apex and whatnot. It's really, really cool. They got that in this game as well. Multiple views you can use and whatnot. Cockpit view looks, it's a little bit cleaner and whatnot, but it's when it's to this level is when I really start to notice it, and it's like, okay, let's tidy this up a little bit. So.
Appreciate that follow-up. I was just curious because I know some car game like car geeks, which I know, Shane, you're big into cars and tires and everything and wheels. Sometimes you put it in camera mode and you're just dissecting every frame and you're staring and you're zooming in and all that. But if you're catching it while you're playing, that could be distracting and sort of pull you out of the experience a little bit.
There's a lot of customization you can do as well, which is really cool. You can, a lot of upgrades. You can upgrade your car to, the next class even and whatnot. So you can continue using that ride as what you get a real high performance in there. And I'm glad you mentioned tires there, because this is the first game I've seen where you can actually change into different manufacturers of tires. Like I haven't seen that really in at least console racers. I mean, the PC guys are probably yelling at what a device that they're listening on. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about, right? But at least on console, you don't really see a lot of that. But this game has, you go through your Hancooks, your Goodyears, your Yokohamas, Dunlops, all that stuff in there. And that's really, really cool because you don't see little stuff like that. So they've definitely put the work in, and, we'll see what happens going forward.
Nice. Well, a long time ago, this was a TV show. Now it's like the biggest game in the damn world. Everyone's talking about this. And it's plural. It was Fall Guy, the TV show. Good show, man.
Oh.
Yeah. Now it's Fall Guys, but man, came out just a few weeks ago, a month or so ago, man, and it's just dominating conversation everywhere. I have not played it. Shane, have you played Fall Guys?
Casuals ruined Fall Guys, though.
Casuals?
So you're saying I've ruined it.
All right.
I
didn't
Fall
even know
Guys. Yes.
Okay.
Good man. And I didn't know Fall Guy was a show. I mean, the Fall Guy was a show.
Yeah.
That we had over it.
The Fall Guy. Okay. I forgot the word "the" in front of Fall Guy.
And that was the guy in the truck, right? That's the show we had.
Is it Lee
Majors?
Lee Majors, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about the truck.
We had that. Oh, yeah. No, yeah, okay. I thought there was an actual game like this game, but called Fall Guy, and it was an actual thing, but never mind. This is like It's a Knockout. Or if you've ever watched Takeshi's Castle, if you're in the UK and you watch TV when you've had a few beers late at night, you might watch something like this on the Challenge channel or something bizarrely. It's like an assault course with various different game modes, and you play as like these little jetty men, like gang beast men. And this is the go-to game that I've been playing with. Like Joel said, this game is everywhere. Everyone's playing it. It seems to be the choice of streamers at the moment as well. Like a lot of people have kind of ditched their other community games in favour of this. So, the likes of Fight, some of the more cap shooters have been dropped for the Fall Guys. And this game it's excellent. It's so much fun. Like me and the boy have a real blast on this. So I think a few hours each time, and there's a degree of repetition with the different kind of map, what do you call them, maps or levels or courses, I guess. So with the variety of courses, there's not a ton of them. So if you're playing for sort of a few hours, and if you're playing on your own, I think this game isn't that much fun. But with mates, or with a couple of people, it's brilliant. It's so much fun. And the aim of the game obviously is get to the end of each level to achieve the goal. Sometimes these are typical assault courses. You've got to get from the finish and navigate all the different obstacles that you might come across. Other levels might be like a football kind of based one. You'd have to score a few goals, or you have to retain as many objects in your goal as you can to keep the points on there. You've got you spawn with a tail, and you have to keep your tail from other people steal your tail. And it's just mad. You're running around the map, and there's these big mallets that keep knocking people all over the place, and they're crazy stuff. It's really fun. It's a silly game, but it's very addictive. I must admit, if you get a win, if you actually get a victory at the end of all these rounds, in the final round, you get a crown, and you can then spend that crown on cosmetic emotes and things. If it's kind of serve the right lines. So, things you'd see in Fortnite with different, all those different things, you get very similar things in here. So it's got all the basics, I think, and the kind of foundations for retaining a player base. It's going to be seasonal as well. Something else that was in that Gamescom video that we all watched, and the guy, the very, very young guy, I've got to say, the lead developer on this game, he looked about 20. And he was probably a little bit older than that, but I was so surprised how young this dude was. And he was like, talking about season 2 and, new courses that are going to be in there and stuff like that. So it's obviously a game that's designed to be supported and looked after long term. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's a great laugh, and the perfect to pick up play, and get on with it while having a bit of fun. And you'll always get players and control you. You can grab hold of other players, stop them finishing, push them over the edge, and things like that. So there's a bit of naughtiness going on sometimes, but man, it's a lot of fun. It is good. It is good.
Watched a few videos. It does look like a pretty good time. I think that's about as close as I'm going to get to this game. I don't know.
I'm in short bursts.
Yeah, in
it's
short bursts. What's the price tag on this? Is it a free to play, or is it a?
It was free on PlayStation Plus. So if you've picked up your Plus games for August, it's one of them.
Okay. Well, that's a good deal.
You might want to do that, Joel.
Turn on a console?
I think it's also on PC. I'm not sure the actual price tag, probably 20 quid or something around there. Rocket League kind of price.
I figured it was a low barrier to entry for the amount of people who are playing this at the moment. Not available on Xbox, only on PlayStation and PC. And apparently coming to Switch maybe soon, they're talking about potentially.
If it comes to the Switch, it's going to slay. So. It'll slay on the Switch. Like kids be going crazy for that Fall Guys action.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong there. It's not on the Xbox. I'm not quite sure. I don't know what the crack was. I'd assume as it was free on Plus, Sony have probably had to grease those wheels a little bit, maybe. Yeah. But yeah, like Shane says, maybe in short burst, for sure. It's not the most complicated of game, obviously, but for your mates, it's good. It's a giggle. It's certainly enjoyable. The other game is obviously Battletoads. This was released, I think, this week on Game Pass, and I'd kind of cancelled Game Pass for a little bit. I was like, I've got PS Now. I'm just going to chill on it. But I restarted it on PC, and the thing about Game Pass is if you decide to, drop out, say I gave it a rest for about 6 whatever. Jump back on PC, I'll join again. It's £4 for a month. Like it's a no-brainer. And Xbox are like, it's £1. Offer price. Every time you unsubscribe and you want to go back, there's always a discount. Like, and it was the same on the Xbox. I'm sure. Like if I went in online, logged in online to my Microsoft account, cancelled all my sessions, and went back in 6 to 8 weeks later, they'd be like, rejoin for like $1 or whatever. So nice. We'll keep an eye on that if you've been gone for a little while. So jump back in for all my games downloaded, play people on the PC anyway. But Battletoads was the reason why I thought I'd jump back in. Obviously, this game on the NES kind of infamous for being a great game, but also really, really hard. And it was an interesting mix of genres. You had your side-scrolling beat-em-up levels, platform levels, racing levels, all that. And they haven't strayed too far away from the former with the latest game either. The graphics are much cartoony. It's definitely got that kind of Odeon Cartoon Network, Saturday morning cartoon kind of feel. Very, very child. Battletoad previously had a bit of an edge to it. It was kind of like the cool kind of, a bit edgy, I guess. But this seems much more family friendly. But the animation and that cartoon vibe of it is done very, very well. Like it looks great. Big chunky sprites, bright colours, animation. It's fine. It's not that fluid. Like it doesn't probably. Maybe it's missing a frame or two in terms of animation, but it still does the job perfectly fine. And the storytelling, like the cutscenes, are beautiful. They're just cartoons. Like it's great. The three toads themselves, they behave a little bit differently. They've got different moves that they look different, but they're kind of the same. They're just a little bit quicker as you go along them. Bit of variety, I suppose, but it doesn't scream like, oh my god, this is my favourite character of the three. Like I'd use any one of them really, and it's more of a cosmetic thing. You want to be the smaller one, the quicker one. To get through certain levels, and maybe the bigger one, who's I never know which way they are. I think Rash is the cool one with the sunglasses. I think Pimple is the bigger, stronger one. I'm not 100%, but you can drop in, drop out. You can switch characters as you play, which is pretty cool. So you can be going through a beat 'em up level, and you just press the D-pad left, right, or down, and it will switch in the different toads, and you can do that literally as much as you like, whenever you want to. So you can even kind of do some combos and then drop the other guy down and spice things up a little bit if you want to do that. The combat just lacks a little bit of a crunch to it, I think. It's satisfying, but like any one of these games, you need a bit of just to feel satisfying when you're punching somebody and all the rest of it. It just feels like it's a bit floaty. Lacks a little bit of weight to me. I've only played a couple of hours. I think the campaign is only about 3 or 4 hours long anyway. Probably played 2.5 hours of that. You start off with a side-scrolling brawler, and then you go into like kind of a mini game kind of section. The toads have essentially they've been stuck in like a virtuality experience, and you kind of you play through the first level, and then you realise that they're not heroes, and they have to get little part-time jobs and whatever. So the second level is kind of you just going through, and one of them's a masseuse, one of them works in an office. This kind of like just button mashing little mini games. And then there's like a bike level, and then you're back to a brawler level, and so on. And the brawler levels are fine, like the combat's good and that, but they kind of drop in these little puzzles and stuff, like in the middle of the fighting level. You just want to fight, really. So you have to stop a couple of times, and you have to like connect like a circuit board up together, like turn stuff around, connect the dots, and press a button, and it kind of takes you out of that the franticness of the beat 'em up level. I wasn't quite sure what to make of that because you get enough of those minigame things anyway as they alternate the levels and they kind of mix things up. So I was a little bit like, oh, okay, I don't really want that. This is my fighting level. I want to fight, basically.
Yeah.
And the bike level, it just goes on for ages. Like it's really long. But it's fun. Like it's fun to play. I don't know how many times you'd want to play through it. I think it's the same with any kind of fighting game, but you have to compare to Street Slash that dropped earlier, and there's replayability there. I think you've got your character unlocked, you've got your constant XP bar, and all the rest of it. I think with this, once you've done it, you've done it. So it's a great game for Game Pass in that respect. Like, the fact that it's on there, the fact that it's free. Yeah, get on it, have a bash. But probably not one I'd go back to. I don't think once I'd finished it. But I'm not 100%. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not brilliant. But it's really, really solid. It's a fun game. It looks really pretty, and it runs great on PC as well. Yeah, no issues at all. So. Yeah.
Just hearing you talk about it and it being a side-scrolling brawler makes me want to play Streets of Rage 4 again. Because that's a great side-scrolling brawler, and I think the timing of this game, having to kind of follow up on that really great experience. Maybe if it came out a year ago, when there was this giant hole in side-scrolling brawlers. But then, and plus the puzzle thing that you talk about there, that really sounds kind of lame. Really pulling you out like a fake way of making the game longer.
Yeah,
a 3.5 hour game doesn't need 20 minutes of bullshit puzzles just to make it longer. Just make it 3 hours then.
No, I know, and I felt the same. Like the way you've just described that. When I was playing this, I was like, oh man, I want to play Streets of Rage. Like, and I was like, oh, that it makes you want more of those other kind of games. And we had the same thing with Rage and Justice when that came out, and I really enjoyed that game, but because of the way it was made, and it made me want to play. I was like, oh man, I wish someone would make a Streets of Rage, like another one, and just make it almost identical, because that's what I want. That's the tried and tested perfect formula of one of these games. But Battletoads isn't meant to be, just a side-scrolling brawler. Like, you remember those levels on the NES, and you were the platform levels and all the rest of it. And this game's got those too. It's got the platform levels. It's got like the kind of almost racing levels, like on a 2D background when you're going from left to right, and you've got to escape this thing that's coming after you. And there's a lot. There's variety in there. But it just, I don't know. I just don't. It doesn't excel in any of it. I think for me, like, it's not like the side-scrolling platform levels made me think of Rayman and how good Rayman is, and how much I was like, oh, I wish they'd make this gen Rayman game, like, or a PS5 Rayman. So yeah, I don't know. It's perfectly fine. It's not a bad game in any way, shape, or form. Definitely worth people's time checking it out. But it's a strange thing to throw in a variety of things like that for such a short game. But worth checking out. People should try it.
I didn't play the SNES version, but I played quite a bit of Battletoads on the original Nintendo.
Yeah.
And why I liked it back then is it was just cool. You're freaking brawling with toads, But looking back at it, like hindsight being 2020, it's probably one of the most overrated, clunky brawlers.
Yeah.
I mean, the controls were poor. It was clunky. It was like damn near impossible, difficult, like you mentioned in your talk here, but difficult because it wasn't well programmed, not because the baddies were difficult. It was just a clunky game. It's a cult. Yeah. It's a cult classic. So people look back at it, remember it fondly, and because it's a cool game. But it's not one I ever play. When I fire up the retro consoles, it's not one I want to play. Streets of Rage, Final Fight, Double Dragon, River City Ransom. Those are the brawlers that I play, not Battletoads. So I don't know.
100% agree, man.
Kind of a weird reboot. I did like the Battletoads characters in Killer Instinct. That was cool.
Yes, yeah.
Should have left it there.
Yeah, they were. I mean, who knows? It might just disappear into the ether. But it's just, it's an exclusive. It's a game drop in. It's, if you're in that infrastructure, if you've got Game Pass, play it, man. It's all right. Like it's fine. It'll pass some time and it's fun. If you're into cartoons, like if you're a bit of a cartoon nerd, you'll love it. Like the graphical style is really nice and the cutscenes are really nice. So the story's fun. So it's one of those. But yeah, like Streets of Rage 4, I think it set a bar. Like no one was expecting it to be as good as it was, and it's still a game. I'm like, well, I'll go back and play a bit of that. So yeah, and that's all I could compare it to as other games I'd rather be playing, which is probably never a good sign.
Favorite of the year material, that Streets of Rage 4. I mean, that's going to be on the list. I think that was really great.
Yeah,
and I want to play some more of that. Just you got me in the mood to go play more of that. But Microsoft, desperate for IPs, desperate for their own original IPs. They got Battletoads. Well, let's do Battletoads. You know, rather than making it a launch title for the Series X, they'll just chuck it out here at the end of the one. Seemed like a, dare I say, kind of a desperate move just to show that they've got an IP here that nobody else has. And I say this not having played it, just based on it being kind of a clunky game in the past. I'm being too
missed opportunity, seems like.
Yeah, but perhaps I'm being too hard on it.
Yeah.
Easy PlayStation Platinum trophies. It has been a few months, fellas, since you guys have brought the PlayStation Platinum trophies. I haven't looked. I don't pay attention to your numbers. Maybe your numbers are going up. I don't know. But Shane, you got one. It's a 10-minute game, so don't talk about it for 3 minutes.
Okay. All right. How should we do this? Should we do this in a certain style or anything? Or?
Short and sweet, man.
All right. 10 seconds.
We're over an hour. Let's keep her tight.
10-second platinum review. Okay, and go. Okay. Road Bustle is what the game's called. It's 99 cents. It's literally going to take you 10 minutes. Why is it going to take you 10 minutes? Because it's a Frogger clone. And you know how Frogger works? You got to cross street, hopefully not get picked off by a vehicle. Easy peasy. Go through a bunch of streets, hit the points, boom, you'll get the platinum. Done. You're welcome.
99 cents. Platinum.
You can't beat that. No excuses.
That's like playing your guys' cards right there.
Yes.
You know?
Oh.
Like, hey, Shane and Karl, she got like a private message. Like, hey, guys, I made you a game.
Right.
Absolutely.
There's only ones I do now. Like all my platinums. I got like 77 or something of I don't know.
Damn.
But like probably like 69 of them. Yeah. Are all like only a few minutes. So
yep. You're Radalaka.
Yep. Love my Radalaka games.
Oh yeah.
Kings. But unfortunately, you know, because of the Vita is finally officially done. You know, there's not too many plats anymore. So you don't get that Vita cross buy with the new ones now. But you know, it is what it is. You know that time was going to come, and yeah, luckily there's some 99-cent 10-minute plats out there.
Well done. That's it, everybody. Thank you for listening. That's episode 222, I think. Abandoned Gamers.
Yeah,
yep.
222.
All right. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Appreciate you listening. Take a moment if you haven't done so yet. Leave us a review. Send us an email. Join us on Discord. Let's hang out. Make it worthwhile for us here. Put some fuel in our tanks. Help us out. As we sit,
fuel in these tanks, boys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially in Karl's tanks.
Right?
Rocket fuel.
All right. All right, everybody. Thank you. Take care. Be safe. See you later.
Peace. Good night.